Hey, this is Riker, and today we're going to be looking at a fixed 50 mm focal length lens that would work with a Nikon Z mount camera, or approximately. This is kind of a principal design, and we're going to try and see if we can knock this out in about 10 minutes. Okay, so let me just explain a little bit about the shaded model view. Because these videos are really more about learning the mechanics of Zemax more so than optical design principles. I kind of assume that whoever's watching this at least has a little bit of a foundation with optical design principles. So, with that aside, you can go ahead to the Analyze tab and you can click Shaded Model, and that opens this guy up. Let's go ahead and just click it again. Opens up a new one for me. And if you click with your left finger, then that lets you rotate the model. If you've got a middle mouse button, you can depress that, and that lets you laterally shift things around. I wonder, yeah, right click just pulls the settings up. And that's how most of the motion works. Now, zooming in, you actually have to scroll down to zoom in and scroll up with your finger moving away from you to zoom out. Okay, so that's the basic motions for Zemax. It's a little bit different than other software, but that's just kind of how it is. Okay, let's go ahead and start from scratch, and we'll do a new model. Sure, we'll save this. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. So go System Explorer to open this up. Let's do an entrance aperture of 13 millimeters and close that guy. Let's go to Fields of View. Let's do Open Field Data Editor. Go up over here and we're going to do 4 fields out to 22.5 degrees using the Fields Wizard. Press Apply and it auto-populates those fields for us. Let's go to Wavelengths, go to Settings, and select the Visible preset. Okay, we are set up now to start designing this lens. Now this lens is inspired by the Wollaston landscape lens, so we're going to start with kind of throwing one of those together. So we're going to go ahead and do 20 right here, and let's start with MBK7. And let's insert another surface here. Remember, you just hit the insert key or right click and do insert surface. And let's give this a thickness of 5 millimeters to start with. And let's give this a radius of curvature of -100. And let's go right here and click on the square here and do a marginal ray height solve to get the paraxial focus. Let's do a cross-section view. And there's our initial lens layout. You can see this beautiful field curvature that we are dealing with right there, probably with some astigmatism as well. Okay, so we got our initial layout. Let's go to Optimize and Merit Function. And let's go ahead and auto-populate with Image Quality Spot. And then we're going to go ahead and insert a couple rows and then type in effective focal length right here, and we want our focal length to be 50 millimeters. It's going to be a fixed 50 millimeter lens, and so we want we're going to change that, and then let's just start optimizing. Why not? Control Shift O, hit enter, and we get to that 50 millimeter focal length, and let's see what this looks like. Okay. So not really a Wollaston landscape lens in this case because we are focusing very, very fast. And you can see there's lots of spherical aberration based on this caustic right here where the rays are crossing over each other. So here's what we're going to do to fix that. So one of the best ways, well, at least one of the ways that I know to fix spherical aberration is to stick a little aspheric surface at the stop, because all the rays are, all the fields of view are converging at this point, And so any spherical aberration that you fix here is affecting all the fields of view, okay? Equally. They're all hitting it, roughly equally. There's a little bit of a projection that goes on as you go off axis, but that is largely not a significant factor. So let's go ahead and insert a surface right here, and we're going to make another MBK7 element right here. Let's give it a thickness of 5 millimeters. And let's see what that looks like. Oh, it doesn't show us. So now we can either right-click on the window, or we can click on Settings and change the first surface that's being drawn here. And I'm going to do that and press OK. And now here's what it looks like. Now you'll notice that it's not drawing our stop anymore, and that's because the stop coincides now with an optical surface. Okay, I'm okay with that. So now we're going to go ahead and change the stop surface to an even A-sphere. Now we can either scroll down until we find even A-sphere, or you can just start typing even A-sphere. Even A-sphere, and it shows up as one of the options. Okay. Now that's not really going to change anything. We still have all this spherical aberration that we are dealing with. But let's go ahead, and I'm just moving over with my right arrow key, and let's go to the fourth order term and hit Control Z, okay? Or if you really don't like that, you can hover over the box here and change the solve type to fixed. Okay. We're going to, from fixed to variable. Okay. So now we've got these distances. Let's do Control-Shift-O and Enter, and check it out. We reduced the spot size, the merit function decreased, and our spherical aberration is looking a lot better, and now this is looking a lot more like a meniscus Wollaston landscape sort of lens, because it's no longer trying to fix spherical aberration out here. It's all fixed right here at the stop. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. As a start. So let's go ahead and look at our spot size. Standard spot diagram in the Analyze tab, and we've got kind of 41 micron sort of spots up to 120 micron for the radius, RMS radius. So now let's see what our next aberration we're dealing with. Let's go ahead and change the wavelength to all on the view. And I'm going to go and also change the coloring from field number to, let's actually do wave number. Okay. All right. And we look down here and we can see, holy crap, we've got chromatic change in focus. Blue focuses before green. Green focuses before red, and none of them are really kind of together. So we can fix that by possibly making this guy right here an achromatic doublet. This is nothing new, and I'm sure that what I'm showing you has been done before, but that is okay. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a surface, do NF2, and let's give that a thickness of 10 millimeters, just for fun. And you can see there's some bad stuff that's happening right now. That's okay. We're going to let the optimizer fix things up. Hit Control Z on the radius of this guy and Control-Shift-O, Enter. Okay, let's see what happened. Okay, let's go ahead and scroll in here, and we still didn't fix it. Okay, that's okay. We are going to start substituting out glass types. Now, right now, let's go to Setup and go to System Explorer, and let's go to our Materials Catalog. I'm not feeling like looking at every single glass that SHOT offers, so I'm going to go ahead and instead choose, sure, let's choose LaCroix's selection, and let's get rid of SHOT. So click on SHOT up here, and now it goes down. Okay. And we're going to start substituting these glasses. So substitute, so grab that, substitute, grab this, substitute. I'm not going to vary these thicknesses quite yet, but in a moment I just might. Control-Shift-H for hammer. That lets you switch out glass types. and it starts finding different glass combinations that are doing a much better job than NF2 and MBK7. Maybe I had those in the wrong order, but okay. So here's what we got. Let's go ahead and update. Okay. Now I'm not really liking the way this lens is looking right now, but I'm going to set that aside for now. And our spots are much smaller. Let's go ahead and look at here. And red, green, and blue are all coming to a focus pretty near the same place. So this is looking pretty good. Okay. Now I'm going to let it start varying these thicknesses, but before I do that, I need to change my merit function, because if I don't limit what these thicknesses are going to be, it's going to do some pretty wacky things. So I'm going to go to the merit function editor. If you don't have that open still, go to optimize and merit function, or you can also again hit F6 on your keyboard. Go over here, and we're going to start putting some boundary values for the glass thickness and the air thicknesses. So, sounds like the kids just woke up. Okay, so minimum glass thickness. Let's say I want it at least 4 millimeters thick. And let's say the edge thickness, I want at least 3 millimeters. The maximum thickness I want, let's go with 20 millimeters. And we're past 10 minutes now, but well, we'll see how far we get. Well, I'll do a minimum air of 0.2 millimeters and an edge thickness of at least 0.2 and a maximum air of, I don't know, 100. And this one doesn't matter as much right now. Let's go ahead and hit apply. And now it's going to limit our thicknesses, and it's probably mad because the edge thickness here is less than 3 millimeters, so it's going to want to fix that. Let's go ahead and highlight these thicknesses by clicking and dragging, and hit Control Z and Control Shift O and optimize. And wow, okay, how are we doing now? Let's go to spot diagram. About the same, but let's see. Did change those thicknesses up for us. So now here's the issue with this lens. It's trying to fix not only chromatic change in focus and also astigmatism and coma, but it's also trying to fix field curvature. And here's where we can implement another lens. We can go ahead and stick a lens near the focus. It will be literally a field flattener lens. So NBK7 is what it's going to be made of. And we're going to change this guy to a fixed type. And we're going to set it back to, what was that flange to focal distance? 16 millimeters for the Nikon Z. Let's go ahead and give ourselves a little bit of margin and give it, I'm mixing things up. But yes, I do want to do that. Let's do a 17 millimeter thickness, so our lens is at least that far away. And we're going to, now here's an interesting trick, shift plus, okay, so plus, and then minus, yep, 17, and I just did math on that thickness. And now we've got a surface right there. And let's go ahead and give this lens a thickness. I think I said it needs to be at least 4. Is that right? Optimization wizard. Yep, needs to be at least 4. And we're going to now stick some variables, Control Z, and on this thickness, Control Z as well. Okay, so this is going to be our field flattener lens. Traditionally, those are much closer to the focus, but I'm going to make it so this fixes most of the field curvature, and this doublet here, which is incredibly fat in order to fix field curvature, it's going to fix only some of the field curvature. Control Shift O and optimize, and let's update and check it out. It is looking pretty good. Let's go to the spot diagram, and we're getting quite a bit tighter. Now, we're just about out of time. Let's go ahead and do a quick substitute on these guys, all the glass types. Now we're just going to go full bore, Control Shift H and hammer, and just let it find better glass combinations. It's working, it's working. Wow, that's a really fat lens. But there we go. This is it. Well, this is almost it, at least. So this is not looking fantastic right now. It's a little bit thick. And honestly, this lens right here, it's also looking kind of thick. Um, so I'm gonna cut back. I'm gonna thin these guys out a little bit. Go to our merit function, optimization wizard, and instead of 20 millimeters, I'm gonna say no. You can only go to 15. I don't like the look. It looks like a really big beefy lens. So I'm gonna Control Shift O, enter to optimize. And now it wants both of them to be 15. Hey, that's what happens. Let's go ahead and let's limit our thicknesses to 10 millimeters because I don't want it to be that fat. Maybe other people are okay with that, but I'm gonna trim it down a little bit. Okay, so let's trim down a little bit. Let's go to our spot diagram, and we lost a little bit of resolution when we did that, but I'm not too offended by that. Control Shift. Ooh, you know what I've been forgetting? Just realizing I'm forgetting something also that I could have been using. This guy I've kept as a plano lens, plano. But if I add a little bit of curvature to these guys, it can start to do us a little bit of good. Control Shift H. Gonna hammer it. Okay. And it's starting, hey, there we go. Starting to make a few leaps and bounds in our merit function. Okay. Wants things really close. I don't want you that close. Let's look at this spot diagram. It's getting better. But you'll notice that some of the ray angles here are getting pretty steep. And I don't like that. So in order to fix that, I'm going to go into my merit function editor. And in order to help with manufacturing, I'm going to go ahead and improve the manufacturing yield and hit apply. And now I'm going to hit Control Shift O and optimize. And it didn't really change that much. And that's because we're kind of in an optimization rut right now. I'm going to go ahead and do Control Shift H and hammer optimize and let it have a little more freedom with running around in different places, swapping out glass types and so forth. And we'll see what we get. Okay, let's hit stop. And okay, it's getting somewhere. This is looking quite a bit different than the other design that I had just shown you. But that's just the beauty of this. There's many different solutions to the same problem. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to increase the weight on this manufacturability. Control Shift O, enter. Let's see what changed. Okay, Control Shift H, hammer optimize a little bit to switch out glass types. So if you're doing this along with me, you might be coming up with a very different looking answer, and that is okay. Okay, that's starting to look a little bit more like our other design that I was showing you. Spot diagram. So we're a little bit big, 200 microns for the scale on that. But let's go ahead and analyze our diffraction. Well, let me just first of all go to wavefront and optical path and see what our OPDs are looking like. So we're on a plus or minus 5 wave sort of a scale. So we're getting close to diffraction limited on this. So let's go ahead and use diffraction and closed energy on the Analyze tab. And right now the sampling's too low, so go to your settings and let's increase this to 256 by 256. And there we go. So across the field of view, I kind of use 80% as roughly your kind of resolution mark. So on axis, you got 10 micron sort of resolution across a 50 millimeter focal length. I can do math sometimes, but right now I'm just going to use the calculator. So that's 0.2 milliradians. If you're looking at taking a portrait of somebody and they're standing, I don't know, 8 feet away from you, times 12, then, oops, yep, 0.02 inches. Let's convert that to millimeters. 0.5 millimeters. So you're going to see roughly half millimeters sort of features on the person that you're taking a picture of. Of course, I need to stick in that distance here, but that's the gist of it. And this is pretty close to the other design, I think. Let's see if I can open up the other design. So I'm gonna save this as Wollaston mod 50 millimeter. Okay. And let's go ahead and open up the other one and see what it looked like. Let's do a similar sort of view. Analyze cross-section view. And it looks more or less the same, but the thickness of these lenses is a little bit different, the shape's a little bit different. Honestly, I think that this other one, so this is pretty steep curvature here, which is a little challenging for a doublet. It's not terrible, but I think the other one, let's not worry about saving that this time. The other one was a much nicer curvature. Now, they're thicker lenses. You'd have to see what materials are truly available in these thicknesses. But as a preliminary design, this seems like a pretty nice start. And here is your fixed 50 millimeter lens with not terrible resolution, and it's working at f4. If you remember in my last video, the Wollaston landscape lens works at f16. So this can get 16 divided by 4 is 4, and square that is 16. So this will get the same amount of light in 1/16 the amount of time as the Wollaston landscape lens. And this is something that you could possibly stick in front of your Nikon Z mirrorless camera and get some images. There's a lot more that goes into a true lens design. Stray light analysis and so forth, but as far as just throwing something together and having some fun, here's your 50 millimeter lens. Thank you. Thanks for watching.